Welcome to the Cape Fear River. The Cape Fear is North Carolina's largest and most diverse watershed, with over 6,000 miles of navigable tributaries converging into a 35-mile-long estuary before emptying directly into the Atlantic Ocean. The major tributaries of the Cape Fear, including the Deep and the Haw, the Northeast Cape Fear, the Black, and the South, cut through the heart of the state. Nearly 1/3 of the state's population lives in the watershed, and 1 in 5 North Carolinians gets their drinking water from the river. Like all rivers, what happens upstream in the headwaters impacts everything downstream. The Trump administration has proposed massive rollbacks on environmental protections for wetlands and waterways across the country. Those rollbacks would have devastating impacts here in the Cape Fear. Here in rural parts of the Cape Fear Basin, tens of millions of animals are confined in industrial meat operations, producing staggering amounts of waste. Swine farms are more heavily concentrated here than any other place on Earth. Many streams in this area have been channelized into ditches. These rollbacks that the Trump administration is proposing would specifically exempt these ditch streams from protection under the Clean Water Act. In tributaries like Stockinghead Creek, surrounded by industrial meat operations, we've documented extremely high levels of bacteria and pathogens, up to 500 times higher than safe levels set by the state, as well as alarming levels of nutrients, which can lead to downstream dead zones, fish kills, and toxic algal blooms. The Trump administration's clean water rollbacks will not benefit you or me. Rather, they'll benefit industrial swine and poultry meat operations like this one. Ditch streams like these could lose protection, increasing the amount of animal waste in downstream public trust waterways that North Carolinians use for fishing, swimming, and drinking. What happens here eventually ends up here. Loss of clean water protections upstream has far-reaching impacts downstream. Dangerous pathogens will threaten human health. Drinking water supplies will be at risk from harmful algal blooms. Communities of color will suffer even greater injustices when compared with whiter and wealthier communities. Important fish habitat in the Cape Fear River estuary will be at risk, with clear negative impacts on local and statewide economies. With ever-increasing demands on our nation's waterways, and ever-growing awareness that the water we use for fishing, swimming, and drinking impacts our health and the health of our children, we can't afford further environmental rollbacks.